Good morning, everyone. I want to say thank you to everybody who watched Car Chronicles or Jassè in the Jeep. Thank you. We got a lot of questions, a lot of good responses, just saying, this is awesome. You should continue to do, you should continue to do it and just, just tell your truth. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stay on topic today because I got a question that had me thinking all weekend. The question was, when is it a good time to go back to your ex? And the reason the person asked me this question was because I married my ex. If you don't know, my husband and I went to college together. I call us college sweethearts. We probably dated 2.5 years through college. And after I graduated, he broke up with me out of nowhere. I'm talking about devastation. He broke up with me out of anywhere. And then 10 years later, we got married. So the question was, when is a good time to go back to your ex? Honestly, I will be honest. When you're my ex, that's it. You're just my ex. You don't even exist to me anymore. So it's very hypocritical or just interesting to know that I did marry my ex. I don't believe everyone should go back to their ex, and I don't think every relationship needs to have energy put back into it or to try to revive it. That's just my thought process. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a relationship expert. I'm not any of those things. I'm just speaking from my true experience. One thing that I can say, my husband and I, his name is Clinton, I call him Clint, we were always friends. We had just a true friendship connection from when we first met. We just were really close with each other. And so we never had a relationship when we were together prior to being married where he was physical, mentally, or emotional abusive to me. He was never any of those things. And I think that was one of the things that made it safe to go back to him, because he never crossed those lines. I always knew that Clint had my best intentions. He didn't break up with me because he wanted to date another girl, or he was moving away, or it was the reasoning was the reasoning was crazy. And I plan to ask him again tonight. I've asked him this question so many times, and he's going to say, I don't want to talk about it, or you already know the answer. But the reason he said he broke up with me is because he had to find himself. And at the time, I was like, you lost? Where'd you go? You're sitting right here. What do you mean you need to find yourself? I could not understand that response for the life of me. And it wasn't until later he said, I knew that I was not ready to be in a committed relationship. And had we continued dating, we would have gotten married, we would have had kids, and more than likely we would have gotten divorced. Because he knew he was not the man who he needed to be at that time. So I thank him for even recognizing the fact that I'm not even going to take you down this journey with me, because I'm not even a complete person. And so one thing that I would say, if you are considering going back to your ex, what is the reason, or why are they your ex? What was the reason they broke up with you? What was the reason it didn't work out? Was there any type of abuse, mentally, physically, emotionally? If those things are all negative, hey Jasmine, then no, you should not go back to your ex. That time frame where we were not together, we had encounters where we saw each other, but it was just that. It was just like a moment where we saw each other, and I never really gave him any sense of, I want you back. Really, I was so angry and hurt that Clint thought I hated him. I didn't. I just hated that he put me through that situation. And me being a Scorpio and me being someone who's very much about right and wrong and how you treat people, I could not bring myself, although deep down I truly loved him, I couldn't bring myself to allow him to see me hurt. He would, throughout those years, he would contact me all kinds of ways, emails, texts, through other people, and I still would just be like, whatever. I got engaged in those 10 years. That's a whole nother story. But let me stay on topic. So, I'm back. Sorry. With that being said, I got a phone call. With that being said, I think you also have to consider what the reason or the reasons why this person is your ex. I don't want to go into if it's cheating or whatever. I can't speak on that. You have to decide, can I get past this whatever that happened? The biggest thing to go back to your ex is, are they the same person? When Clint came back to me 10 years later and I came back to him 10 years later, we both were totally different people. We had 10 years under us and we had experienced life for 10 years without each other. I think the biggest blessing was we realized that those 10 years without each other, we didn't want to go another 10 years without being in each other's presence. And so the person definitely has to show you a new person. I always tell people I married the 2.0 Clint and not the Clint that I married years ago, because he truly showed me a completely different man. He would listen to my concerns. He would listen to my anger about the breakup over and over and over, because I had not even worked through it. Even trying to get back with him, I would just always just somehow go back to, how did we get here? And then finally I had to say, I have to let it go. I have to let that hurt and that bitterness go for us to even be able to move forward into a relationship where we say we want to be partners with each other for the rest of our life. The next thing is, have you grown? Are you a new person? I was different. Those years when I was with Clint in the past, I think I very much clung to the idea of relationships and wanting to be with someone, but I truly didn't know myself. We were very young. I think we were 21, 22, 23. I didn't know who I was, the woman that I am right now, and the woman who I was then. I've evolved. I've evolved into a more mature person, and I would definitely say anyone that's considering taking their ex back, you want to really think about, are we the same? Because you're really, truly, and honestly setting yourself up for failure, in my opinion. If you go back, both of you, the exact same person, what's going to change? The same things that you guys argued about, the same things that you weren't happy with, you're going to have those same things if it's not change. If it doesn't change, it's not going to just get better with someone saying, you know what, here's some flowers, let's work through it. No, you really truly do have to take your time apart to get to even know if you need to be together. Date other people. Like I said, I was engaged to someone, and it truly, I had an epiphany one day, and I'm like, I can't do this. This is not what I want for my life. And even if Clint is not the person, I know that who I'm trying to move forward with isn't the person. So this was a very truly hard topic for me, because I don't know if you should always go back to your ex. I don't know if it's always a good situation, but I will say this: if it's something that's on your mind, if it's a person that keeps tugging at you and they didn't harm you, they didn't physically hurt you, and they've grown, then I would say and time has passed and you've grown, and if that feeling is still there, then I think it's safe to explore it again and see what that is. See if the time apart from each other meant for you both to grow into a better person. So honestly, should you go back to your ex? Should you not go back to your ex? The answer is not easy. It's not white or black. It's very much in the gray with where you are with your life, where you want to be moving forward, and where that person is. So that's my answer to that. If you have any questions regarding going back to your ex, or if I'm wrong, if you've gone back to your ex and there was no time and boom, y'all married and everything is good, please let me know, because like I said, I'm not an expert. I'm just speaking from my perspective, and to me what sounds, what I know to be true, and what also sounds correct. You can't, it's almost like trying to fit two pieces if there's no growth or if there's no change. It's not going to just miraculously work itself out. So definitely consider those things. Consider yourself. You know, even if that person has grown and you haven't, then maybe God should wait a little bit. Wait until everything is aligned and then revisit it. That's my Jassè in the Jeep advice today, my car chronicles. If you have any questions, please send me a message. On my way back home today, I actually have a question about stress. And as you guys know, I'm a breast cancer survivor. I truly believe that stress left in your body and left unresolved turns into diseases. And I can bet money on it that my cancer diagnosis came from stress. It happened not too long after me calling off my engagement with someone else. That whole time frame in between there, I was a very, very stressed individual. And so I'll just give you my tools, tricks and techniques for help relieving stress. I'm not a guru. I still get stressed, but I try not to hold on to things more. I try not to hold energy, negative energy in my body, because I just cannot allow myself to be sick in that way again. And so when we talk again this evening, I will talk about stress and tips and tricks on how to get stress out of your body. Hopefully you've enjoyed this car chronicle. Like I said, it was a very tough one for me because it came from a very personal place in my life. I very much love my husband. I truly believe that my husband helped to save my life. He took away a lot of that stress from me, and at the end of the day, I think God had to separate us to know. Good morning. Hi. Thank you for calling me beautiful. I think that God had to separate us for us to truly know what it feels like to move through this life without each other. And 10 years was a long enough time to know I don't want to go another 10 years without you. So baby, if you watch this video, I love you. If just thank you for being there with me. I thank you for my family, and I hope that you guys are able to experience the love that we experience with each other. We're truly friends. I definitely would give the advice to anyone: marry your friend. If you have to force it, if it doesn't feel right, because I can talk about that too. Like I said, I was engaged to someone else, and I don't want to speak negatively to that person. That's not what this platform is. I just know for me that person was not for me, and it was a very forced relationship. There were so many signs that was, sorry, DMV potholes. I knew that was a very forced relationship, and it would, I don't know. When I found my cancer, I was at stage 0. I didn't even know stage 0 existed, but I was thankful enough to find it so soon, and my life was on a whole nother trajectory at that point, that I was moving up. And so I truly believe that I'm healed. I truly believe that cancer is a past story in my life. But had I remained in that relationship, had I remained in that negative space that I was in, had I remained with the level of stress that I was in, I truly believe that stage 0 would have not been my diagnosis, because I was in a very negative and bad place. And I don't want anybody walking through life feeling that way or feeling forced, because truly life is beautiful. There's so many things to be happy for. Every day that you wake up is a blessing. You see my shirt? Blessed. Every single day that you are able to experience life is a blessing, and it should be a good one. Don't live in fear. Don't do anything that feels unnatural to yourself. And don't take me wrong, there's growth in being uncomfortable. Yes, you should be uncomfortable. You should try things that feel fearful. This was actually very fearful for me today. When I did it last week, it was nothing. It was just like, oh, I'm just going to turn live on and just go live. But the response was so much. I truly got so many messages from people saying, we need this, or you don't know how much just hearing your story touched me. And that put weight on me. Like, people are really listening to what I have to say. Just Jassè in her car, Jassè in the Jeep. Like, that's crazy. So this morning I just felt very, can I do it again? Should I do it again? But I woke up and I said, you know what, God, we just going to do it and see what happens. So some people came in. I thank you. I hope I answered your question. I hope questions keep coming in. Like I always said, I would keep it open, honest, with the purest of intentions. I would not give you advice that I would not give myself. Well, it's advice from me. I've lived these experiences. So I would not give this advice to... I would give this advice to my mother. I would give this advice to my sister. So, like I said, it's coming from the purest place. So thank you for joining me today. Have a blessed day. And just be thankful to be alive. Namaste.